What's up, Crypto Nation? Welcome to Bite Size Bitcoin and day 21 of B90X Bitcoin 90-Day Challenge. Today, we're going to be talking about two different archetypes of candles. We're going to be talking about the Hangman and we're going to be talking about the hammer. In previous videos, we talked about dojis and we talked about spinning tops, we talked about shadows, and we talked about candles. So to be prepared for this video, you're going to probably have to watch those previous videos. Let's do it. Let's get into hammers and Hangman. Here we go.
B90X. Bring it. Bring it. This is the axe.
All right. So I want to give you guys two new archetypes of candles. They're very simple and they're really easy to spot. The first is the hammer, and the second is the Hangman. Now, both of these look exactly the same, but they have different implications, so it's very important to know the two different implications for each of them. Let's go over them. It's pretty simple. When it comes to the hammer and Hangman, as you can see up here, they look exactly alike. They look exactly alike. You're talking about a small body. So I'm going down here. You're talking about a small body with a long lower shadow. A long lower shadow. There's different implications for each of these based on the price action. Again, it could be a small body, whether it's a green body, red body. They have long lower shadows, short or non-existent upper shadows. And the key idea here is that both of them require confirmation before action. What does confirmation mean? We need to collect a little bit more data and watch the next upcoming sessions to see whether the trend is consistent. So let's jump in to the hammer. If we look down here, this is your stereotypical hammer. Okay, it's got a very small body with a very long shadow. Okay, and what has happened, what a hammer shows, it shows a bullish reversal pattern. It forms after a decline. And so what we have going on here is we have a decline that's happening here. And what you saw, very close open and a very close close. And it resembles a hammer, but then we really see it in the next session right here. Right here is where we see the hammer really form. And so it forms after a decline. So the best way to remember this is if something is declining and then you see a hammer, okay? And I always like to look at it this way. If we see a decline, I want to stop that decline. So the best way to do it, hammer it down, okay? So what a hammer can show is that it can mark bottoms or support levels. After the decline, you should see, or it should signal, a bullish revival of sorts. The low of the long shadow implies sellers drove the prices lower during the session, so it went all the way down here, right? And so the sellers drove the price down here, but the buyers regained some action and regained some land at the end. And what this requires, again, is a bullish confirmation. So let's just say we were here and we didn't see the rest of this stuff over here. We saw this forming here. I would want to take note of it. I'd say, we're in a we are in a downward trend. What I'm hoping to see is I'm hoping to see a hammer. And let's say that we watched it for the next session, the next 30 minutes, and a hammer was revealed. So what I would do is I would make sure that I keep my eyes on the next couple sessions. And lo and behold, the next session it went up and the next session went up. And so and this is a perfect example of a decline hitting that hammer and then going back up. Very powerful, very powerful. Let's look at this again. Another example of this is over here, right over here. What do we have? We have a decline happening, and we see not really a spinning top, but something pretty close to it. And then we see a hammer. I like this. I see a hammer. Now, after I see this hammer, after this downward trend, I'd want to make sure that I follow the next couple sessions. Here we go. Next session pops up. Looks solid. We see some red here, but let's make sure that we check out the next session. The next session comes up. We had some reversal. Okay, so let's take a look at the next one, which is a hanging man. A hanging man is it looks very much like a hammer, except the biggest difference is that this is after an upward trend, not a declining trend. Okay, so what is a hanging man? A hanging man is a bearish reversal pattern. It forms after an advance. And so we have an example right here. We have an advance. We have the stock price moving up. We have an advance. Selling pressure is increasing, and the low of the long shadow, right here confirms that sellers pushed prices lower during the session, even though the bulls regained a little bit of footing. The selling pressure, however, in many cases usually wins out, and just like with the hammer, it requires some bearish confirmation. So as we are moving up here in an incline, we see a hanging man smashed right here. So what this could indicate to me is a reverse in the upward trend. So how do I confirm it? I wait for the next couple sessions, and lo and behold, next session goes down, next session goes down. Pretty cool, huh? So let's look at it again. Same idea. We have a hanging man up here. And again, the best way to look at it is we have an upward trend. We have an upward trend. Looks good. We've hit a high or a resistance level here, and blammo. Look at that. We have a hanging man that shows up, and that is a really solid hanging man right there. And so I would think at this point in time, okay, so we're having a big increase in the price. We've hit a potential resistance line here, and booyah, we see a hanging man show up here. So what would I want to do? I need to get extra confirmation. So I wait out the next couple sessions, 1, 2, and 3, and lo and behold, looks like we might have been wrong here, and that's okay. Technical analysis doesn't always work out, but the tip, here you go, the tip is down here. When you see a hammer or a hanging man, you must watch closely at the next couple sessions. This is a game of patience. When you see these indicators, it's great. It's exciting, especially the more experience that you get. You'll see these things. You'll say, oh man, I know this. This is a hammer, or this is a spinning top, or this is a doji, or this is a hanging man. I know what this means. I know what this means. This means that it could be a trend reversal or something like that. Again, here comes the patience. The patience is now that you can see these things and you have experience identifying these types of archetypes in candles, the next thing is you have to get trend confirmation and to see whether those trends really will form over time. So I hope you guys like this short video around hammers and hanging men. The assignment for today is find your favorite coin. Look at it. See if you can spot hanging men and see if you can spot hammers. And after you've done that, see where the trend went. See where the trend went, and start making up your own hypotheses as to what you might have done if you had known about these hammers and if you had known about these hanging men. Again, thank you guys for joining us for this episode of B90X Bitcoin 90-Day Challenge. If you like the content here, feel free to subscribe. And if you'd like to support us on Patreon, we'd love that very much. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.